Hello, Fusation. My name is Alex Fuse, the host of Fusion News. We have another big show for you right now. I am on the phone with extreme Yankee fan, Mr. Brian Rappaport. He's in New York City. And what Brian is different from everyone else, he was actually featured on one of my favorite game shows ever, Match Game. Brian, what was that like for you?
That was pretty incredible. It was the second game show I'd ever been on. The first one was a little more relevant and not on every channel, but this is pretty incredible being on primetime TV and having won the most you could win with $25K. On top of that, meeting Alec Baldwin and a handful of celebrities, it was a wild ride. So definitely a fun 15 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. And just going through that, you kind of get into the mindset of just, we'll talk about the Yankees right now. The Yankees, of course, lost to the Red Sox in a 5-game series. They only lasted 4 games, but going in, I felt pretty confident with this Yankee team. But leaving the game, that was awful. The ending was awful if you're a Yankee fan. What was your reaction when you saw the ground ball to the third baseman and it was an out to end the game and to end the Yankees season?
It was painful. I was there both Monday and Tuesday night, and in the ninth inning, I was very much resigned to the fact that they were going to lose 4-1, and Kimbrel would shut them down 1-2-3. So when things started unraveling, I just stood there next to my friend very silently, stone-faced, not showing any reaction until really when Neil Walker got hit. And at that point, I was like, okay, in my mind, maybe something could happen here, but still was showing zero reaction. I was a little deflated by what Giancarlo did. And in my head, and I did not say anything to my friend that was next to me, I thought there was no doubt in my mind that Sanchez was going to hit a grand slam. I just felt that was the moment for him. It was the official end to any type of discussion of if he's the right catcher for this team. And when Gleyber was up and he grounded out, I actually turned away, and I wanted to wait to hear the reaction of the crowd. And it was a cheer that turned right into silence. So I automatically knew that the game was over. And when I saw what was happening with the review, I asked my friend, is it even close? And he told me, no, he's out. And I just laughed. It was an incredibly painful way to let the season end.
How I watched this game was probably better than or worse than you. I go to college in Massachusetts, and there's Red Sox fans galore all on campus. And I was watching it down in it's like a bar type restaurant. And there was about maybe like 3 other Yankee fans, and we were all sitting together. And there was probably over 30 Red Sox fans there. And the whole entire game, I played it off like I wasn't nervous at all, and I kind of knew the Yankees were going to win, and I just didn't want to rub it in their face yet. And as soon as they had the bases loaded in that 9th inning, I'm like, here they come. The Yankees are going to come back and win, and it's going to be like 2003 or 1986 all over again for the new Red Sox fans that did not witness that. And I was just... it was awful. It was probably one of the most, looking back at it as a sports fan, it was probably one of the craziest, most entertaining sports endings you can have in a baseball game, right?
It was just insane. I don't remember seeing something like that, at least for the Yankees, in a long time. And I don't know, if Giancarlo Stanton gets on base or even puts the ball in play where, he can move a runner over, I have a feeling that game meant a lot differently, and we're looking forward to a game 5 tonight. But unfortunately, that's not how it turned out. It was just a giant tease for all of us Yankees fans.
Now, Brian, you bring up Giancarlo Stanton. What the Yankees lacked in the series against the Red Sox was that big hit. Yes, they had Gary Sanchez's 3-run home run in Game 2 that led to a win, of course. But other than that hit, the Yankees had no huge hit to really put them over and get the momentum going. And Giancarlo Stanton did not help the Yankees out at all in the playoffs for the most part. What are your thoughts on Giancarlo Stanton?
I see a lot of people on social media saying that they should trade him to the Dodgers and then use the money to sign Rappaport. That was Giancarlo's first year, and he had, a pretty decent year for him, all things considered. 100 RBIs, he hit over 30 homers. He carried a lot of the offense when Judge was out. We need to give him some time. A-Rod, it took him until 2009 to really, get the accolades that he had been looking for at the Yankee. And Stanton is going to be fine. I really believe in this guy. I think that he has the demeanor to play in New York. He clearly loves being here, and he just didn't find his moment, unfortunately. I thought maybe in Game 1 when they were mounting that comeback after Sale was out of the game, that would be Stanton time, and it wasn't. and it's proven that it wasn't going to be at all throughout the series. So I really believe that he is going to have a very big 2019, and fans should give him a little bit of a break. It's tough with the salary he's getting paid. But again, he is one of the best players in baseball and smack in the prime of his career. He's not 36, so I believe in him.
Mm-hmm. Brian, I agree with you. I think Stanton just needs one more year or another year to get comfortable in New York. It's a completely different atmosphere than Miami, and it's a completely different atmosphere coming from the National League to the American League. But what I tweeted out after the game, and I've been supporting Aaron Boone the entire season for the most part. I disagree with multiple things he's done throughout the season, but I've supported him throughout the season. But after this playoff series against the Red Sox, I feel that Aaron Boone is just not a good fit with the Yankees. Yes, he won 100 games as a first-year manager, but there is just something missing with Aaron Boone and the Yankees. And I think the Yankees need to move on from Aaron Boone. They have such a fantastic team where they need an experienced manager like a Buck Showalter or even Joe Girardi. They probably won't even bring Girardi back, but I don't know. They just need I just don't think Aaron Boone's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I personally just cannot stand him. And the first inkling of me figuring that there was going to be trouble with this rookie manager was way back in April. I think it was the first series against Toronto. He let Dellin in too long and let the D-Rob go too long, let up a game-changing grand slam to Justin Smoke, and I'm like, this guy has no read on the bullpen and just does not know, essentially how to manage. I get the Yankees won 100 games. Unfortunately, we both don't think he's the right guy for the team. He's going to be there next year. I'd be stunned if they get rid of him. But yes, I just don't think that he is ready to be a manager in this market, or a manager at all for that, for that matter. He got severely outmanaged by Alex Cora, and you know what? He should have. Cora was the bench coach for the Astros. He was part of a championship run. He has, some experience. Boone had nothing, and it was just extremely frustrating the way he, handled managing these last two games of the series. It was just a disaster.
I'm sure that's going to be a conversation that Brian Cashman has with other officials within the organization in this offseason. But another conversation that I'm sure that Brian Cashman is going to be having is who to sign as a free agent or who to re-sign as a free agent. And there's a couple big guys that are going to be free agents for the Yankees. You have Brett Gardner, David Robertson, Zach Britton, CC Sabathia, and a couple others on this team, J.A. Happ. And you have a lot of decisions to make. Are we going to bring back CC Sabathia? Are we going to bring back Brett Gardner? Are you going to sign J.A. Happ to a longer deal? What are the Yankees going to do? Out of the current Yankees that are going to be future free agents in a couple weeks, who do you want to see back on this team next season?
Oh, man, it's really tough because I've gone back and forth, and I don't want to contradict my tweets because people could easily pull them up, but I'll tell you how I feel right now. I like Britton. I think Britton is going to be basically back to his old self by next year. He did let up a home run the other night, but it was a cheapie. Granted, it was the Yankee home run. Yeah, I like Britton, and I think that he should really take the place of D-Rob. I think D-Rob is incredible as he's been on this team, and as much of a workhorse as he's been, and how badly he loved to pitch here. I just think he let up too many game-changing homers this year, and he just at the drop of a dime just lost it. And he's better off closing in, for like a San Diego Padres or something like that. I love D-Rob. He'll be an old-timer's day, but Britton over D-Rob. Gardner is a $12.5 million team option. I think that they love his leadership, and I think there's going to be a little bit of clarity in the outfield. Obviously, this offseason, maybe Clint Frazier gets traded because of his health concerns. Who knows what happens with Ellsbury? I think they bring Gardner back because his leadership is, valued by the front office, and, his teammates absolutely love him. And he still has a little bit left in the tank. He's not an everyday player, but he's definitely a great utility player. J. Happ, if they can get him for 2 years at a relatively affordable deal, I'm all about it. I thought he was incredible. He had a rough game one, but nevertheless, I think that if he was pitching tonight in the game 5, he would come out completely different. I'd love to see him back. And as much as I love CC, like even a 1 year, $10 million deal won't kill me if they just want to use him as a stopgap until May when maybe they bring up Justice Sheffield or Chance Adams for the full run and for a permanent spot, or until Montgomery's back. But they cannot count on Sabathia to be an actual, stalwart in the rotation. He just does not have it anymore. 4 innings. Obviously started breaking down the third the other night. I love him. He will have his number retired by the Yankees, as he should. He brought him a title in 2009. But I just don't think he has it anymore. And you can't go based off of love. So if they can get him for a cheap 1-year deal, bring him back because, again, leadership and him and Gardy are the old guard. But anything other than that, he's going to have to move on. And I think you're saying about Neil Walker and Heckler area and Lance Lynn. I don't think that they're, in the plans.
Mm-hmm. And 2 free agents that you have the option to sign is Manny Machado or Bryce Harper. Those are the 2 big hitters, big bats on the free agency option this offseason. If you had a choice, Machado or Harper, who would you want on this Yankee team?
I would want Machado. I 100% want Machado. I think that Bryce Harper is an absolutely insanely talented player. I mean, he's one of the best in baseball, but he obviously had his struggles this year. And it's almost like putting another Stanton there. Like, let Stanton figure it out. I don't necessarily want to get rid of Andahar, but I just think Bryce Harper is almost like a once-in-a-decade talent that comes along with the free agent that you can lock up and make, the co-face of the franchise with an Aaron Judge. Mm-hmm.
Any predictions for next season before we wrap up the season or interview, Brian? Any big prediction? Are the Yankees going to go to the World Series?
My prediction next year is that the Yankees are, and this is not a fan prediction, I think that this is a little bit of a rough patch, definitely a step back. 1 year ago today, they beat Cleveland to come back in the ALDS. I think they're going to win the AL East. I don't believe that Boston is as incredibly talented as the record shows. They're definitely a great team. They'll be in the playoffs. I think the Yankees win the AL East, and I really do think that they win the World Series next year. Cashman's not going to let this offseason pass by without some major changes that influence, the team, especially in the starting pitching department, be it Patrick Corbin or whomever it is. And my last prediction is that if Bryce Harper signs elsewhere with Philly, LA, wherever it is, I think Cashman goes after Max Scherzer. I think Washington starts a full rebuild, and I think no one's really spoken about it, but I think Cashman goes for Scherzer. And maybe he can be to the Yankees what Justin Verlander is to the Astros. Just that top-of-the-line ace to pair with Sevy to reduce the pressure on Sevy, to go with Tanaka too, maybe half, and all of a sudden, for all the talk about Bryce Harper and Machado, maybe they still have Machado, but they have Max Scherzer, at the top of the rotation. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a long month until everything kicks off, but until then, we'll just have to root for Houston and hope that they wrap it up by next weekend.
Definitely, Brian. Thank you again for coming on my show today. And where can the Yankee fans follow you on Twitter to follow along with your great Yankee tweets?
Yeah, they can follow me at @BRappy55. Bear with me. Sometimes I could get a little frustrated, but it's definitely an entertaining ride. And I appreciate anyone that throws me a follow and that continues to follow. So,
definitely.
Always a pleasure interacting with you, and I love your show.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, Fusion News, you just heard it from Brian Rappaport, one of the greatest Yankee fans and Yankee follow on Twitter. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. Fuse Nation, I want to say thank you so much for listening to the show. Make sure to follow me on Twitter @AlexFuse as well. And always be a supporter of the Talk of the Town podcast on Facebook, on Twitter, all over the World Wide Web. Thank you, Fuse Nation, for listening, and I will be seeing you all very soon. Thanks again for watching.